Hi everyone! So finally I am getting to share my advent calendar that I made for us this year. As you can see, it's like a bookshelf setup. I've been losing my voice on and off for the past week or so it has taken me forever to do this voiceover. As you can see, I made 24 book boxes in 2 different sizes, which I will walk you through step by step in this tutorial. This is by far not my final setup. I still have fairy lights and all different Christmas decorations to go on this, but they have to come down from the attic yet, but I really wanted to share this video now. This project was very much inspired by a Christmas tradition that we have in our house. We do have the elves coming to us, as many other households do, and our elves do like to bring books with them to read as a bedtime story. So because they bring books, I thought that I'll make books too. I thought it was such a lovely idea. I really love this. We have had our own Christmas Advent tree for quite a few years now. I will link to a video at the end of this one, to a tutorial to that one. If you'd like to check that out, it would be amazing too. Grab a cuppa, and as always, I really hope you enjoy watching this tutorial today. If you like what you see, do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And I am going to walk you through step by step for the measurements of both book boxes. So for the first one, we are going to start off with this white heavyweight cardstock for the box. And I need 2 pieces of these, almost the same size, one of them measuring exactly 6 inches by 5 inches, and the other one is just slightly bigger at 6 1/8 by 5 1/8. So they're both almost the same size, one of them being just slightly larger. I'm going to score both of these exactly the same way at 1 inches on all 4 sides. The slightly larger one will be the lid of the box. That's why we needed that extra room. And you can just see that 1/8 of an inch of a size difference between the two. Starting with the smaller one, I'm folding and burnishing the score lines, and then I am going to release those tabs in all 4 corners. So I'm going to cut down alongside the score line and then cutting away the wedges from either side on the tab. And I'm just going to repeat the same thing in all 4 corners. Once I have all 4 of these tabs released, I'm going to grab my quick grab glue and I'm just going to attach the sides of this box to each other. And I like to use liquid glue in here because it leaves me with enough wiggle room to make sure I get it nice and square. So this one will be the base of the box. The slightly larger one will be the lid. Similarly, folding and burnishing the score lines, and I'm releasing all 4 tabs exactly the same way as we've done before. Now, before we attach this to the base of the box, I'm going to work a little bit on this. You see that little notch in there on the side on a previous box I prepared already? I will show you those boxes, by the way, at the end. I want to create that notch. To do that, I will need some decorative strips, and these two, the 2 longer ones, measure 3 7/8 by 7/8 of an inch, and the 2 shorter ones will measure 2 7/8 by 7/8 of an inch. Now I'm going to start off working with these longer ones. I have a corner and notch punch by Creative Craft Products from Craft Stash, and this is what I will use to create my notches today. So first I'm going to center one of those longer strips on the side of my box, and once it's nicely centered, I'm going to scoot it right onto the front. You can see how there's no border on the very edge of that box now. I'm going to find the halfway, which is just a bit above the 2-inch mark, because this one measures 4 1/8 of an inch. So it's about 2 1/16 of an inch. I just marked it with my pencil and I am punching through the 2 of them at the same time. When I pull that up, you can see that lovely border even around the notch in there. If you want to glue this stripe of paper down first and then punch the notch in there, then you will just not have that border around the notch, which is a good look. Again, it's whatever you prefer. I just like to have that border in there. Now I decided to do this on the 2 sides, so you can just go with the one side. I am used to doing this on 2 sides with all the boxes that I make, really, so I just went with that. Practically, you will only need it on the one side for this book boxes, but I like the look of having it on both sides. So now, placing my lid on top of the base of the box, I'm adding my liquid glue to the tabs. And now I'm making sure that I'm not doing this too tight. If I was only making a box without the book cover on it, I would probably aim to make this a little bit tighter. And here it is still tight, so the base of the box will not fall out of the lid if I lift it up, but I can hear a little bit of a rattle in there. If I was making just the box itself, I would probably pull the lid a little bit tighter, because I want that sidewards movement of opening the book to go smoothly, opening and closing. I left it a little bit looser. Now I'm just adding some shims on the inside of the base of the box again, just to reinforce the sides of the box a bit. The lid of the box is reinforced obviously from the outside with the decorative paper. I'm just adding the same sizes of the white papers or cardstock strips on the inside in there. If you find your lid is a little bit too loose, you could always add these onto the outside of the base of the box. That will provide you with an extra shim for your lid. So now I can see and I can feel it that it's opening and closing very nicely. Now for the book cover, I'm going to use a piece of cardstock measuring 8 1/16, so just a smidge over the 8-inch mark by 4.5 inches. And on the longer side, I'm going to score down at 3.5, turn it around to the other side and 3.5 again. This way, I am left with 1 1/16 of an inch of a spine. And the reason we need that extra bit of a 1/16 of an inch added to the spine is because we obviously added a lid to our box, which was already measuring 1 inch in height. And to prevent any bulking, because the lid will raise the size of the box just by a smidge, to prevent any bulking and curving on the front page of my book or the cover of the book, I needed to raise the spine by 1/16 of an inch. I really hope this makes sense. Adding a glue to the bottom of my box, I'm centering it between the top and bottom, so I'm making sure there's the same amount of lip left on the top and the bottom, and just a little smidge on the right hand side. I left more on the left hand side in there because obviously where the spine is, the book will have to be able to open, so the lid need to be able to be lifted. If I didn't leave any room, and there's about 3/8 of an inch between my box and the spine, and that's enough room for the lid to be able to lift it. I did trial all different measurements, and when I didn't leave enough room between the box and the spine, the lid just wasn't able to lift over. It kind of was sticking, it got stuck in there. So these measurements were perfectly there, tried and tested. So now we are going to work on that decorative piece for our spine. The piece of pink cardstock, same as the book cover, this one measures 3.5 by 2 inches. And on the 2-inch side, I score down at 1/2 inch, turn it around to the other side 1/2 inch again. Now, between those two score lines, I'm going to score line at every groove, so every 1/8 of an inch, just to create that corrugated spine of look. Now I'm going to fold and burnish back the 1/2 inch tabs in there on either side. And then just helping it with my fingers and with my nails, I'm adding a little curve in it just by pushing down on every single one of those score lines that I just scored down on. You can see that curve forming in there. I can add a little bit more of a curve, so I'm just going back a bit harder. And now I have my spine almost ready. I'm adding my glue to the 1/2 inch of a spine only, and I'm lining up that first score line with the edge of the spine side of my book. So I'm not closing up the book where it should be opening, obviously. I'm working on the spine side in here. And then I'm going to add my glue to the other 1/2 inch of a tab as well. And I'm going to glue this to the other side. Now this is a liquid glue, so leaves me with a little bit of a wiggle room to get it right, but it grabs very, very nicely and quickly. So I know it will not move out of place once it's glued down. So now it's all down to decorating. For now, I'm only going to add these papers on these. So these two measure 3 3/8 by 4 3/8 of an inch. and I'm adding it to the front and the back as well. And then I come back with a slightly different sizes of papers just for the inside. I like to decorate the inside, quite optional, you don't need to do this, but I like to add decorative paper. These two measure 2 7/8 by 3 7/8 of an inch. So that's one book is ready. I've already prepared the other 11 on this size. So I'll show you a couple in here, but I will show you them all at the very end and what I decided to further decorate this with a little bit as well. So I didn't deliberately show you what paper pad I used because I used, I think it was 7 or 8 different paper pads from my stash. I used to collect these 12 by 12 inch paper pads and I have so many of them. So I just reached into all the different ones that I got over the years. Now we are going to repeat the same process but with different sizes, which is optional. I wanted to make 2 different sizes of books, but you can just go with one of these if you wish. So the cardstock for the box this time measures 5 by 7 inches and for the lid 5 1/8 by 7 1/8. Both of these pieces will be scored at 3/4 of an inch on all 4 sides. And then just repeating the same process as we did earlier on with the box. Now I lightly touched earlier on the papers that I'm using to decorate these books. Now I used to be crazy about collecting paper pads. All these 12 by 12 paper pads that came out in the range and in the works, I had to have them all. So over the years I collected quite a few of those and I ended up not using them or barely ever using them. So this was a time for me to pull those out, and I've just cut all different papers to decorate all the different books. Now, all Christmas themed ones, obviously, because it's Christmas Advent calendar, but they by no means do mix and match with all the books. They are all completely different, and I will show you. So for this one example, I'm using this gorgeous red and white hot chocolate snowman kind of theme. So these strips in here measure 5 3/8 by 5/8 of an inch, and the shorter ones are 3 3/8 by 5/8 of an inch. I am centering the longer one again on the longer side of the box, scooting it down to the front, marking halfway at 2 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to use my punch again just to add that little notch in the for the finger, really, just for easier opening. Same way as I done it earlier on, just different measurements. Now I'm using my glue to attach these. Now these measurements that I gave you for strips, cut the same ones from white cardstock for the base of the box as well. I do forget to do that in here and I will have to come back to do it later, but this is the time to cut the same measurements from white cardstock as well. Now I'm going to attach the lid, and again, same as earlier on, I'm going a little bit looser than I would if I would just have this as a gift box, because these would make lovely gift boxes themselves. Just decorate the top and you have a perfect little gift box for a small present. Now for the book cover, I'm using an 8 3/4 plus 1/16 of an inch. So again, just slightly over the 8 3/4 of an inch of a mark by 6 inches. And on the longer side, I'm going to score down at 4 inches and then turn the cardstock the other way and score down at 4 inches again. This way I'm left with a spine of 3/4 of an inch plus 1/16 added. Again, just to allow for that lid so it's not bulking and won't curve on top of the book. So I'm gluing, and I'm using my Collal Glue to glue the base of the box down, and then I'm adding my glue to the lid, and the liquid glue allows me to get this nice and square. It leaves me with enough wriggle time. For the spine of the book, I have taken a piece of red cardstock measuring 6 by 2. On the 2-inch side, score down at 1/2 inch on either side, and then in between those two, every 1/8 of an inch. Again, I'm just using my fingernails just to add that curve, using the 1/2 inch tab to adhere it to the spine of my book, and then on the other side as well. And then here I just like to use my quick grab glue because the collage dries a bit slower, and who has time to be holding 24 books like that until it dries? So the quick grab glue just worked fine for me for this spine. Now to decorate these, the papers will measure for the outside of the book 5 and 7/8 of an inch by 3 and 7/8 of an inch, and I'm using this white paper with the red cups, hot chocolates, candy canes on it, and for the inside, the red paper with the snowman and the candy canes on it measures 5 3/8 of an inch by 3 3/8 of an inch. And this is the second measurement of my Wix Ready. Only in here I realized that I forgot to add those strips that I even had cut out to reinforce the sides of the base of the box. So I'm going to glue them all onto the inside in here. And in here you can see the size difference between the two. The first one we made is shorter and narrower, but it is thicker. So the larger one was really inspired by a size good for a candy cane. My son loves candy cane, and I couldn't have fit those into the smaller box. So that's why I made the other size to the size that they are. And now I am just going to show you all the different colors and papers that I used. So for the base colors, I used all different random colors out of the little cardstock range, which I've had still stacked on my shelves. And as you can see, they're all different. They're all Christmassy, but they're all very different, from completely different paper pads. And these together, although do not match, they look absolutely fantastic. Just like a realistic bookshelf. Every single book would look differently. Well, I would never color coordinate my books, but yeah, each to their own. I absolutely love how this one will turn out. Now, after walking you through all the little books in here that I created and just showing you the papers and the colors, I will show you what I decided to decorate these a little. You can see all the gorgeous colors in there. And then these are the other size, the larger ones, or the second size that we made, not necessarily larger because they are only 3/4 of an inch in height. But again, all the different papers. Yes, so I'm going to show you what I used to decorate these with further. Very little decorations I added because these, I think the papers speak for themselves. These really do not need much. Plus, I didn't want to add any 3D decorations because these will be stacked on a bookshelf, which I will also show you what I will use and where I got it. And then I will show you a setup that I quickly just created. It's not my final setup for Christmas because I haven't really decorated out in the hallway yet. We've got the tree up, but we haven't decorated in the hallway yet. So these are, I'm just going to show you that the first one, that orange one, is a bit wider because I was playing with my measurements and then I didn't like that big gap in there, but I love the paper, so I decided not to chuck it out. I was going to use it anyway. It's not gonna make much difference. This is for our own use. As for the decorations on this, I wanted to keep it very, very minimal. I did want to add numbers. Obviously, this is an advent calendar, and I decided to use the numbers out of this alphabet and the number die set by Simply Made Crafts. I've die cut them just from plain white cardstock, and I'm going to heat emboss them with the Dull Matte Embossing Powder, and it is a clear and matte embossing powder. Didn't want to add sparkle, not that I don't love sparkle, you know I do. I just wanted to keep these nice and simple. I wanted to let the colors of those different spines shine. You'll see it on my setup. I show you at the end of this video. So I'm going to heat emboss all of those. And then I was debating myself, should I or shouldn't I decorate the front of the books? And then I decided to add some of these tags and little notelets. So the paper pads that I did mention earlier and that I have so many of, a lot of them would have cut apart sheets in them, just like these. You just cut out the tags or the different squares and rectangles. And I finally decided to layer them up on white cardstock. So I went off camera and I layered them all up on white cardstock just to offset it from the busy backgrounds of the book covers a little bit. And I picked out ones that had some writing on them, so almost as if it was the title of the books. I don't know, that's where my head was going with it. And I had this lovely cut apart as well, and lots of those little sentiments, which I loved a lot of. So I decided to cut some of those away. I go off camera, finish that off, and then I'll come back to show you what I did. Okay, so I added my numbers to the spines, and they look so nice just being white against those colorful spines. I really love that look. As for the covers of the book, I added some of these lovely little sentiments. They all say something different, as if they were the titles of the book. So in non-numerological order, this one says, Baking Spirits Bright. You made it to the nice list, and has a lovely little Santa with the list in his hands on it. All you want for Christmas is me. I know my kids will love reading these every single morning. Definitely naughty. I ate Santa's cookies. The next one just says Merry Xmas. I'm just gonna wait until it comes up here on my screen. So that's Merry Xmas with that lovely orangey background to it. Happy holidays. And I know that some of the colors do not match the books, but I didn't mind that. I wanted to have it lovely and colorful and bright and happy for my kids. Spread the Christmas cheer, says this one. The next one is best gift like ever. I really think these are so much fun. So the next one is naughty, nice, with a dash of naughty, crazy, tried my best, or fill it in yourself. Which one would you add, guys? Go on, be honest. Let me know in the comments. Which one would you take out of those? So then we have Silent Night. We have the names of the reindeers: Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, and Blitzen. I wish you a Merry Christmas, says the little gnome. Dear Santa, I have been very good for the last week or so let's focus on that. That's good. Merry everything and a happy always. Definitely naughty. Then we have warm wishes. The next one says, I wish you a very Merry Christmas, in like a tree shape. Merry and bright. Fa la 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 la. I'm not going to try singing here. No, it's not my expertise. A December to remember. Let it snow. Ho ho ho. And now we have one in here. I'm going to have to pause on this one, guys, for you all. So this one says, remember that Christmas is about more than presents. There are also what I thought was cookies. Oh, it's not cookies. There is a... I hope this is just a misspelling. Do let me know what do you think, guys, because I think my little girl will pick up on this, so I might change this tag to something else. But I really would want to think that this was just misspelling in there. Is it cookies or is it not cookies, guys? Go and give your vote down below again. Oh, goodness. I laughed when I realized this. I really, really laughed so hard. And then last but not least, we have one that simply says Christmas. So that's the 24 boxes. The 25th box will be a video all by itself with a much larger box for Christmas morning. I will come back with it when it's ready. So this is my wee setup in here. This is not by far not the final setup. I've just added a few things in here that I could find. Decorations are still up on the attic for this one. So I use those bookshelves from Amazon, and they are so good because you can set them up in so many different ways. You can extend them, have them smaller, larger, making them standing up. This is with the big light off. I'm still missing some fairy lights and all in here, some berries, holly leaves, snowman. I have so many other things to add to these yet. I just very quickly set it up so I could show you what this might look like. I can say with the most certainty that this was a labor of love. I really enjoyed creating this project. I'd love to know, do you create your own advent calendars or do you use shop bought ones? This wasn't our first one in our family. We've used a different one before. I'm really excited to introduce this to my kids this year. If you liked watching my video, please do not forget to give me the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell because very soon I will be back with another lovely video. I really hope to see you then. Bye. Bye.